Hey, welcome to the Black Women's Health and Paradise Healthy Soul Food Sunday. Cook along with me, Chef G. Garvin. Hey, I'm so excited to be here today. We are going to redefine traditional soul food. Soul food is more than just food. It is love food that makes you feel good, but also makes you feel comfortable. But let's face it, some of the things we're used to eating is causing damage to our health. What if the food we loved also became a part of our health plan? So today, on Healthy Soul Food Sunday, we're going to explore some new soul food. Are you ready? Let's get started. Now, I know a bunch of you guys are going to be cooking along with me, so make sure your ingredients and your pots and pans are ready to rock. Let's do it. Okay, the first thing I want to do is we're going to talk about our ingredients, okay? So this is a seafood linguine. Now keep in mind, I have linguine, but you can use penne, you can use buckwheat pasta, you can use eggless pasta. Because this is a healthy cooking situation, I want you to always know that you have options and alternatives, okay? So we have shrimp, snow crab, mussels, clams, shallots, garlic, Chilean sea-bass, salmon, white wine, lobster stock, veggie stock, tomato sauce, heavy cream, chili peppers, kosher salt. Don't be using that regular salt. Black pepper, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is make sure your pan is hot, okay? You're gonna make sure your pan is hot. And what I wanna do is always when you're thinking about shellfish, you wanna start with your shellfish, okay? So a little olive oil, nice and even. Now, typically what I would do, guys, is I would add my shallots and my garlic first. But because I have a hot pan and I want to open my shellfish, I'm not going to do that because I want to make sure that all of my shellfish opens up before my garlic burns, okay? So mussels, clams. So you can take a minute with this, right? You can take a minute with this. It's gonna be hot, it's gonna pop. So make sure you stand back, all right? Nice and opened up, right? Perfectly opened up. Now my clams didn't open up yet, so I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Now I'm gonna add some garlic and some shallots, all right? Now by the time this dish is complete, my clams should open up. Shallots. Some fresh garlic. I'm gonna add a little more oil because I want to make sure it doesn't burn. And also, guys, remember, this is a family style dish, all right? So I want to make a lot of it. So I'm gonna make a big batch, okay? You want to make sure you get some color on your shallots and your garlic, all right? Let's go white wine. Just a touch. Okay? Oh yeah. All right? Nice and simple. Am I going too fast? You guys good? Everybody good? All right. So now what we're gonna do, guys, I'm gonna take some of this Chilean Sea-bass. I'm gonna drop that in. Some of my salmon is gonna go in. My shrimp is gonna go in. All right, I'm gonna move that around. Here's what's great about this dish. Once you get everything in there, it's gonna come together really, really quickly, okay? And you want to make sure you don't overcook your seafood. All right, nice and garlicky, lots of shallots, lots of garlic. That's exactly what we want. I'm gonna complete my wine, my lobster stock. Now I'm just starting to build my sauce. All right, I'm building my sauce. Veggie stock, building my sauce. A little bit of kosher salt. Fresh pepper. All right. So now here's something that's really, really critical. We're gonna take the seafood out, right? Just a little bit of texture on it, right? You're gonna take it out. And it's partially cooked, okay? It's partially cooked. But that's exactly what you want because remember, you still have to build the dish, okay? Everything is partially cooked. So don't worry at this point. We know that it's not done. And the reason we do this, guys, is as we build the sauce, create those flavors, you don't want your seafood to overcook, okay? So this is what yours should look like, okay? Nice and saucy, right there. Tomato sauce. Okay. Ooh, yeah. A little bit of cream. And guys, remember, if you don't want to use heavy cream, you certainly don't have to. You can do this entire dish with your stocks, okay, and your tomato sauce. All right, so now let's turn it down a little bit. All right, so now you see that the sauce is starting to come together, right? That's exactly what you want. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna start to bring it all together, all right? I'm gonna season this. Now that I added those extra ingredients, just a touch more. The red chili, you know, to kick it up some. All right? Nice and low. Hey, now that we got things cooking, let's take a quick break with the message from the Black Women's Health Imperative. Did you know that Black Americans are 60% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes? But if you want to learn more about some practical ways to prevent type 2 diabetes and other chronic conditions, check out this virtual program. Change your lifestyle, change your life, CYL Squared.
The Black Women's Health Imperative's popular lifestyle change program is going virtual. CYL Squared is all about healthy lifestyles in a community to help you connect with like-minded people who understand it's a journey, not a race. Are you looking for health tips, cooking demos, and wellness support? Look no further. The app allows you to participate in the program right from home. And you have your very own lifestyle coach. Interested in nutrition? Managing stress? There are resources for overall health, live events, and more. The BWHI app also has communities where you can find your tribe. No matter where you are in your wellness journey, you will enjoy the CYL Squared Lifestyle Change Program offered through the BWHI app.
Man, that sounds like a great program. Make sure you don't miss out, all right? Okay, guys, so back at action. So here's what I want. This is what you should be seeing, okay? I got a lot of sauce here. I got my seafood that is almost ready. I still didn't do my snow crab claws because that's gonna come at the very end, all right? So here's what we're gonna do now. Take that pasta and drop that pasta in the water. Now here's a trick, guys. I like to always pre-cook my pasta, right? Because it just saves me time. When you have children and you have homework and you have laundry, there's always a lot to do. So always plan ahead, okay? So let's get all of our seafood back in our sauce. All right? I want to show you a trick. When you're doing a pasta dish, right? You can always use your pasta water just like this to build your sauce, all right? Because remember, it's gonna get back to where you want it, right? Build that sauce. And we're doing this family style, right? So you need a lot of sauce. I'm gonna add in my snow crab claws. Really beautiful little pieces of food. I think everybody in America should have one of these. Oh, okay. So, all right guys, so now what we wanna do is, now that we've got everything in here, you don't want to break it up, right? So make sure you're careful with your seafood, all right? It's delicate, all right? Make sure everything is touching my sauce. So now here's one of the great things. Because we sauteed everything in that garlic and those shallots in that super hot pan, everything has flavor, right? We took it out so that it doesn't overcook. So now everything is perfectly cooked because we didn't overcook it, all right? So let's pull this pasta out, get some tongs, right? And now, guys, I want to make sure your pasta is not too high. Your sauce should be at a nice simmer, okay? Nice simmer. Ooh, it's talking to me. All right? Take your time. Don't worry if you get a little water in there, it's not gonna hurt. Okay? All right, guys, so now, you don't have to toss it, right? Just roll everything around. Just roll everything around, right? I want everything touching my sauce. I want everything touching my sauce, right? All that chunky seafood. Okay? All right, guys. So now, I'm gonna top it off with a little red chili. You can add as much or as little as you like. Some Italian parsley, which we chopped. And just a pinch of kosher salt. All right, guys. So now I have my family style bowl, okay? I want you to get everything in this bowl, okay? This is a great family style dish. And that sauce is just so amazing. Turn him off, turn it completely off. And you notice I'm putting everything in the middle, right? Take your time. And you start building your seafood. Okay? Everything has an identity, everything has a home, everything has its flavor. Okay? And guys, I know you're used to doing fettuccines and Alfredos and all those different things, but you really want to make sure you think about what we're doing here and redefining food, right? Soul food, right? Soul food is not what it used to be. It's not just fried chicken or smothered pork chops. This is soul because this food is coming from our heart, our spirit, right? It's soul, right? That's why it's important. Think about reimagining, you know, the way you've always done things and the way you do them now, okay? We're gonna finish it. What I want you to do is make sure, nice presentation. A little Italian parsley over the top. All right, so listen, this thing really turned out exactly how I wanted it to. Now guys, I'm gonna get into this. You know, listen, we're doing this thing live, so you need to be thinking ahead just like I'm thinking ahead. While I eat, I want you to start thinking about our next dish, which is that Chilean sea-bass. We made some substitutions, but get everything ready, right, so we can keep rocking and rolling. So, all right, so listen, guys, as I mentioned to you earlier, what I love, seafood is so fresh, it's so light. Even though this is a pasta dish, it's really healthy. I'm getting all of my protein, not over seasoned. I use kosher salt very specifically. If you have to use salt, guys, use kosher salt or sea salt. It's the best thing for you. And think about your seafood choices. Think about things that are gonna give you protein, your pastas. This is absolutely amazing. And then, by the way, There's a dish called the seafood bouillabaisse, which is exactly this with a few other seafood items like lobster, calamari. You do the entire dish without pasta. So you can do this whole dish without pasta. You could also do it over brown rice. You could do it over quinoa or couscous. So a lot of different options with this seafood, okay? This is good. And you know what? This has no cheese at all. I love partnering with the Black Women's Health Imperative for events like these because you know what? They're always going to keep us informed, like with the All of Us research program, who is inviting people from all across the U.S. to learn more about how their DNA impacts their health. It's simple. We need more diversity in biomedical research. Check this out.
I just continued deep diving into kind of healthcare in this country. When you look at people of color, the access to care, the data that does not exist on, Black patients.
That's why All of Us is such an interesting program. It's a program that I'm working on, and it's being led by the National Institutes of Health. And it really focuses on building a database of diverse participants. So, individuals who have hypertension, we know that there are many drugs out there that treat hypertension. But the question is, are you being prescribed a medication that works best for someone with your genetic makeup? Or are you being prescribed the medication that's new to the market or the one that your physician is most interested in finding out more information about right now?
Hey, welcome back, guys. I am reset, I'm refreshed, and I'm almost a little bit full from that first dish. Seafood pasta with the linguine, unbelievable. All right, guys, so I'm super excited about this next dish because it is Chilean sea-bass. It is one of my absolute favorite seafood proteins. If you do Chilean sea-bass right, it is absolutely the best thing you'll ever eat. So I want to walk you through my ingredients as we did before. So I have Chilean sea-bass, and guys, when you think about this, if you're a caterer, if you're cooking at home, you're hosting, one of the things that people struggle with is how much do I make, how much do I buy? So always think about your guests when it comes to seafood, 4 to 6 ounces a person, and when it comes to chicken, 4 to 6 ounces a person. And then when it comes to red meat, if that's what you want to do, that's going to be 8 to 10 ounces a person, right? So go in, do the math. That's how much you want to purchase. Chilean sea-bass here, they're about 6 ounces that we sliced. I've got some mixed greens. I've got some veggie stock, cream, raw honey, some garlic, some shallots, of course, the peppers, Italian parsley, a little bit of butter. We're only going to use a little bit, and this is unsalted butter. And make sure if you want to use butter, get something that's organic, that's unsalted, or you can leave it out completely, okay? So, I want you to make sure your pan is hot. I'm gonna go a little bit slower on this one. A couple of things to think about. You can finish this on the top, right, on the burner, or you can go into the oven. If your slices are thin enough, you can certainly finish this on top, okay? So I want you to make sure your pan is warm, not too hot, all right? And guys, always remember your trick, right? Never do oil in the pan before it's hot. You don't want the oil to get hot at the same time the pan does. So now that my pan is hot, I'll add my oil and it won't break the oil down, okay? Keep it nice, keep it simple. Okay, so now as I've said, listen, at the end of the day, we're all gonna use salt. Make sure you use the right one. Kosher salt or sea salt. Pink Himalayan is also really great. So I'm just gonna do a little bit. I don't want to do too much. Some pepper. And again, and remember, all of my flavor is going to come from my sauce anyway. Okay? Black pepper, you can do that. Okay? So now that my oil is hot, right down in my pan. Okay, so it's not super hot. You don't need it to be super hot, but you do want to get a sizzle. It's sort of like when you take a bath. You want the water just right, not too hot, not too cold. Just right. You hear that sizzle? That means we're doing well, right? So Chilean sea bass is really, guys, and if you're just starting to cook, this is one of the best proteins you can start with because Chilean sea bass is really, really hard to overcook, right? So the more you cook it, it just gets nice and flaky and golden brown. And Chilean sea bass is a little bit oily, which is really good because it replaces any fat that you might feel like you miss from, saying, a tilapia or a salmon, right? So, and what you want to do, guys, when you think about your seafood and how you manage it, I want you to invest in a fish spatula. This is exactly what this is for. It's for seafood, okay? And remember, you want to get some color on it and you don't want to move it around too much, right? Nice and flat portions so it cooks nice and evenly. A lot of places you go to, you might have thick cuts of sea bass. It's really hard to cook that properly. So we do a thinner cut if you cut it on a bias, or when you go to the butcher, just make sure they cut it for you. It always requests that you cut it on a bias so that you get those nice even cuts, all right? So let's take a peek at it. All right, I'm gonna let it go for another second or two. And remember, what you want is a really great sear, right? You want that golden brown. Okay? All right, let's turn him over. Watch what we do here, guys. I want you to be very careful when you turn your seafood, all right? All right? Nice and simple. Don't let it splash. Right? That's the color we want. That's the flavor we know. Because of this color, we know the flavor is going to be right. Because we lock in all the flavor, right, when we sear it. So here's one of the things you should think about. When you saute fish, if you don't have it in the right pan, you're not going to lock in the flavor. It's going to steam. You don't want it to steam. You want to sear it with a hot pan, right? So you lock in those flavors and it doesn't escape from you, okay? So we're going to let this go for a second. All right? So this is exactly what you should be seeing at home. And don't worry, you don't need to rush through this, okay? Monitor your heat. One of the biggest misconception is people feel like if it's up too high, they can't turn it down. Well, it's too high, it's burning. Well, just turn it down. Right? Real simple. So now I'm turning it down. All right? Let's check out the color on the other side. Yeah, it's there. Okay? So guys, here's what I'm gonna do. Here's something you think about, right? So when you make your seafood, and what we do at my restaurant, which is what makes us, in my opinion, one of the best restaurants, is we don't do a bunch of sauces and leave them sitting around. We build the sauces as we prepare the dish, right? So I'm gonna turn this down, right? So I'm gonna take my seafood out. I'm gonna take my Chilean sea-bass out. I'm gonna place it here, right? Now this is almost done, okay? So now what you're gonna do is, you're gonna start and use a veggie stock, a seafood stock, or a lobster stock. This is a veggie stock, right? And I have this completely turned off. I want you to turn it off for now because it's still nice and hot, all right? That stock in. And this is Ponzu sauce, which I'll give you the recipe too. Ponzu sauce is just a stock with lemongrass, oranges, apples, a bunch of vegetables, celery, some soy sauce, which you reduce down. And this is a little bit of raw honey, okay? Okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use that raw honey instead of agave, because you know what? Raw honey is just much, much better for you. So stay away from agave if you can. Raw honey is much better for you. So guys, this is how you build your sauce, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this sauce just come together, right? I'm gonna finish it with a little bit of cream, right? So this is how I create my flavor. I wanna use the same pan. So I got my stock, my ponzu, my raw honey, and now a little bit of cream, right? I'm gonna reduce that down. So we're just gonna let it come together. That's gonna create my sauce. While my sauce is doing that, I wanna share something with you. You know, this whole event is about changing the narrative around our health. The Black Women's Health Imperative is doing just that. Check out the Reclaim Your Wellness initiative with Healthy Women. And while you do so, we'll be back after this message.
Black Women's Health Imperative and Healthy Women have joined forces to change the national dialogue around obesity. They have launched the Reclaim Your Wellness campaign, focused on addressing obesity as a disease, free of stigma, judgment, and bias. We thank Novo Nordisk for their support in bringing programs to deliver comprehensive approaches to long-term weight management. To learn about the numerous options we now have to address obesity, go to reclaimyourwellness.org. And we would also like to express our support for Obesity Care Week 2022, which starts today.
Another great message. Make sure you check that stuff out, okay? Really, really important stuff. All right, so guys, stock, ponzu sauce, which I'll make sure you have the recipe for that. A little bit of cream. You can certainly do this without the cream, but when you think about it, if you're only gonna do this once a week, when you think about the balance, you're talking about less than an ounce of cream. I mean, way, way less over time, right? So what you wanna do is make sure, if you wanna do it without the cream, leave it out. And I'm gonna finish this with a very small amount of unsalted butter, right? This is just gonna help me get that sauce to exactly where I want it to be, right? Okay? So while that comes together, I'm gonna get my plate ready, right? So you wanna make sure that butter just kind of slowly melts into it. Take a little bit of mixed greens. This is also a great balance for your protein. And just a pinch of oil. A little bit of pepper. Pinch, kosher, Italian parsley. All right, my sauce is good to go. So what you're gonna do is this. Nice and simple. Great presentation, right? Right at the bottom, it's like a little caramel sauce. That's exactly what, that's the color you want to be looking for. Like a little caramel sauce. All right. Take that Seabass. Right in the center. And then guys, you take that mixed green, just slightly touched with that oil and that pinch of salt, okay? And you just build it. It gives it texture and flavor. Okay? Top it off like that. And what you can do is sprinkle of Italian parsley. I mean, look at the beauty on that, guys. Look at how simple and how amazing this dish really, really is, right? You're talking about pan-seared Chilean sea-bass with the ponzu sauce, which I'm gonna talk to you about. We replaced the agave with the really simple raw honey that gives me the flavor I want, gives me the texture I want. And remember, you can do it without the cream or the butter, right? So let's give it a taste. You guys ready? Oh, it's cooked perfectly. So good. The sea bass, nice and subtle. It has a very, very distinctive taste. And the combination of the sauce, so amazing. It's one of my favorite, and I am so excited we did that today. Hey, I've had a blast today, and I hope you have too, as we have prepared 2 delicious, healthy dishes. I want to encourage you all to share your new recipes with your families and friends, and stay tuned for something exciting from the Change Your Lifestyle, Change Your Life program. Participants in the program are taught healthy eating strategies, and now for the very first time, the team is putting together some of their top healthy recipes and cooking tips in, guess what, a cookbook. And you know what? You can also submit your healthy recipes for a possible feature. Go to bwhi.org for more information about this and all the programs and initiatives that will help you live your best life. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you, Black Women's Health Imperative, for inviting me to share with you my love for food and for our health. I'll see you soon.